Hey there guys, I hope you have a wonderful year of 2019. Happy New Year to you. I wanted to do a different video today, something I have not done before. But I was inspired by my friend Mika, who has a YouTube channel as well, and she is doing these monthly wrap-up videos where she just talks about things that have happened during her month. And so I felt inspired to do something similar for my year of 2018. There's the cat. And so I hope you grab a cup of tea with me and then we can chat about the last year. Now, as I said, I have never done anything like this before because usually I like to keep things a little bit private, so I will not go into great detail, but 2018 has been a crazy year for me and for my family and friends, so I wanted to at least remember some of that for the future, so I can always go back to watch this video. And the cat is very unhappy right now and she will be running around like crazy in a second. Okay, so let's start off with the beginning of the year. I started 2018 with somewhat of a burnout. So I did realize it at the time that December 2017 had been really rough on me. I started to forget a lot of things, a lot of important things. I never really felt in the moment and stuff like that. So I was in a really bad place starting out the year. And it got better, fortunately. The thing is that I started working more in 2017 and I was still going back between two cities. I had a flat in one city and a flat in another city, and they were about 300 kilometers away. So that definitely took a toll on me. And in January, I had to come to terms with what I was feeling, that I was really exhausted. Also, January is my birthday month, so I had to go back from where I worked to the place where I lived, and it was just a little bit much. I got home on my birthday, and then my best friend, they tried to surprise me, but they kind of failed, so that was all very funny. But I was really happy that, my friends decided to try to surprise me, and we had a lovely dinner, which was great, and I still really like the memory of that night, and just, how, I was just so lucky to have such people in my life. So January ended on a happy note, I would say. And then in February, life just goes on, and I decided to finally take a vacation and visit my friend who at the time lived in Dublin. So I have not been there for 3 years. She lived there 3 years and I never found time to visit her, and I felt really bad about that. And the thing is that I never have long-term contracts. I always had, fixed-term contracts, so it was really hard for me to carve out time to visit her. And so finally last year I decided to do it, and that was something I was really excited about. I don't think I would have traveled to Ireland anytime, but I felt like it was right, and I was really happy to go there. I know the light is fading, I'm sorry. And so in March we did that trip and we stayed there for 1 week, and it was so lovely, just like seeing where she lived and how she lived, and she showed me her college and stuff like that. It was so nice. Then also I decided to watch a TV show called Rebellion on Netflix during the flight, and that was so cool because this is all about the rebellion in the beginning of the 20th century in Dublin. And so then having to see all these places in real life was so great. It was amazing, and I had the best time in Dublin. It's really an interesting city to visit for a couple of days. So after that, my life definitely changed a whole ton, which I kind of saw coming. I don't know. It was kind of obvious that things had to change, but I didn't really see the way they did. But the thing is that in March, I actually met someone, or I hadn't met him before, but some thing developed there. So that was very unexpected, and it definitely threw my life all over the place. I don't know. It was so, yeah, I don't know, it just changed a lot of things. And also in March was when my best friend actually got diagnosed with a bad disease, and that was hard, definitely, and it gave me some anxiety, and you know, it was all a little bit crazy, to be honest. Like, everything happened basically in like 2 weeks, and with the whole trip in Dublin and everything just in 2 weeks it was quite overwhelming. And at first I definitely did not deal well with this. And you've probably seen that also my channel has changed a lot in that time, because I decided that I was putting way too much pressure on myself to upload so often, and with having basically no subscribers, I decided that this was not what I wanted to do with my life. And so I went to change my schedule to uploading less frequently, which was such a great decision. So, taking all of that in consideration, in April I decided to move. Now in Germany you have to talk to your landlord 3 months before you can actually move out. So I knew that I could move in July when I told him in April, which was still a long way to go, but I had figured out that I could not deal with another winter with traveling back and forth and everything. It's just too much hassle. Like in summertime it's fine because, you know, the days are longer and stuff like that, but in wintertime it's the worst. Like, I would never see daylight. I would either be at work or in a train or at home trying to figure out how the world works. So with that, I also decided that I would stop teaching Latin, which was a huge part of my life. Actually, I started teaching Latin when I was in uni, and I did that for so many years. I think like 5 years maybe. So some of my pupils I had known for most of their, you know, teen life, and it was quite emotional. Like, I don't know, I didn't expect that. Like, I had to cut back on teaching, obviously, with the amount of work and traveling that I did, but that was when I finally decided to completely give up teaching, and that was rough. So in May I had my last lessons, I think, and it was, you know, it was just the right timing because most of my pupils had reached their final year of school, so they were done anyways, and it was the best time to move on. And, you know, I have like a real job now. I don't have to do any kind of work at the side. I don't know. So that was still quite emotional, you know, giving up something you've done for so many years is always a bit odd, but for some reason I don't miss it. I have to say, like, I have so much more free time, you know, not having to do it. It was usually like Friday night, so I would go in at, I don't know, 5 in the afternoon and work till 8 or something like that. So it was very inconvenient. It was a horrible time for working, and so I quit that job, which, you know, is something that happened that year. I don't know what else to say about it. I do miss Latin, so, and I should, you know, in some way try to keep the memory alive. I'm annoying all people around me by telling them which words are actually Latin and what it actually means and whatever. So I have to find a new outlet for my love for Latin language. So then in June I actually went to Berlin, which was great, and I met my friend Sabrina, which has a booktube channel, but she has not been posting in a long time, like actually way before June, I think. So it was still cool to meet her. She vlogged, and I think I did vlog as well, and we met there to go to the Dan and Phil live show. That's the cat, by the way. Just in case you're wondering what I'm doing with my hands. And yeah, we went to see Dan and Phil. It was so cool. Like, it was really stuffy, you know. the place, the venue is like a tent, and it was in the middle of summer, and we had the biggest heat wave ever in Germany last year, and you know, all over Europe, I guess. So it was so hot, there was no air to breathe, and still it was so cool. I really enjoyed it. I had so much fun there, and it was such a cool evening, and we also had a cool day, you know. Sabrina prepared a little Japanese tour through Berlin for me because she really likes Chinese stuff. Japanese, sorry. And I have no clue about anything, so she took me to some nice restaurants, we had amazing food, we did take some really fun pictures, and if you want to see any of that, as I said, I think I vlogged it, so you can watch that. So July was the crazy month when I actually moved. I actually moved at the end of June, which was absolutely ridiculous. I had so much stuff at work that I could hardly carve out the time for my move, and I went back to the other place where I lived before, just on the night before the move, and then the next day the moving truck came and I hired a team who did everything, luckily, because I could have never done it by myself. I had so much to do at work. So with the truck, I actually went back. I had the cat in my car. She had to do the 3-hour drive, which was horrible for her, I guess. I was so worried. I really didn't feel great about this, but you know, I had to get the cat somehow to my new home. So she did it, and she was so good. I actually took a break in between so I could like let her out of her little cage thingy, because you know, she can't really lie down in there and stuff, and so she had a little bit of a stretch. But yeah, the day of moving went super well. I was so overwhelmed. I can only tell you, if you ever have to move like for a longer distance, I guess, like a long distance move, hire people that are professionals. It was amazing. They only had to disassemble my bed, and everything else they could move as it was, and so it was so quick. I think they should I was told they would come at 6 in the morning. They actually, no, at 7 in the morning, and they actually arrived at 6. So luckily I was up at 5 because I wanted to take a shower and do some last things, you know, pack some more breakable things in my car, so, you know, nothing would happen, like all the plants and stuff like that. So yeah, they arrived at 6, and I think at 8:30, something like that, they were done. They had everything I own in that truck. It was so crazy. And so I told them that I could not get into my apartment here before, I don't know, like 3 in the afternoon, I think, and you know, it's only like a 3-hour drive, and they were like, oh, it's no problem, we just find a place to eat and it will be fine. And it was so crazy. Like, I think we got in here at 3 in the afternoon and they were done by 5. It was so crazy. And yeah, so I spent July basically unpacking all my stuff, and it was great. I also think I took a week off at the end of July, yeah, because that was Booktubeathon, and this was my 2nd year participating in Booktubeathon. I really enjoyed it. I really like having that one readathon a year, because then I can really focus on it and I actually take time off for it and stuff like that. So that was so much fun, and I actually got a lot read. Like, reading was not a priority this year, but yeah, in that week it was. So since then I've been settling in. I think the cat is super happy because obviously she was suffering with me going back and forth all the time, and she always knew that I would be back, but whenever I would have to stray a little bit from my usual schedule, she would really suffer because she didn't understand why I wasn't coming back when I maybe had to stay a day longer or something like that. So now she is so much more relaxed, and I'm really happy because I feel like she really settled in here. This flat actually has a little bit of a garden, And so in the summertime, she can go outside with me, and I have a leash so she can't run away because she's never been outside. And this cat is 18 years old, just saying, like, she's a grandma. So I really want to take a good care of her. So she has a little leash, and so we can go outside in summertime. And we also were outside earlier today because the sun is so nice today, but it's really cold, so I don't let her stay out too long because she's just not used to it. But yeah, that's just so much fun, you know, seeing her being happy in this place, and yeah, just having to spend every day with her again, which is just something that was so important to me. And I feel so blessed that I managed to do that finally. And yeah, she's my little love. So August was kind of a boring month, to be honest. Not much happened in August, just settling in, you know, and getting used to everything. And so in September, I decided to again take 2 days off. Now in September, or rather in August, late August, there were these horrible things happening in my hometown. There was a man attacked, and he was supposedly guarding or trying to save women who were attacked, or I don't know, by refugees. That was a story that was told, but it turned out that that was absolutely rubbish. There were no women involved, and no one really knew why he came up to these refugees, but for some reason he was killed in a fight. So that was a huge deal, and because there is a lot of right-wing people where I come from, they were really upset because, yeah, you know how things happen sometimes, and there were huge demonstrations and stuff like that, and yeah, a lot of Nazis basically, which was really hard for me to see, you know, because I think that is terrible. And I didn't want to see my hometown like that. So in the beginning of September, when I took a couple of days off again, I decided to go back. And there was again a huge demonstration, and I vlogged it. So that was all about, you know, standing up against Nazis basically, which is something that is important to me and I don't do enough. So that was fun. There was music and food and everything. It was very chill, very peaceful and stuff like that. So that was great. And then I spent basically those 2 weeks I had off on or in my garden reading books, which was great. It was exactly what I needed at the time. You know, just some downtime after my crazy summer, which was amazing, but it was also pretty crazy with the move and everything. Like, I still can't believe that I moved this year. Like, more than 300 kilometers. That is crazy to me. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. You know, sometimes you have to be bigger than yourself. I don't know. So yeah, that was September. Now in the end of September, my whole world changed drastically again because my, by then, partner went to Africa because he is, you know, spending some months there, which definitely was great timing, obviously, and it really, I didn't take it too well, let's say that. It just made me really sad. So the last couple of months have been really rough for me, especially October. I did my little readathon thingy with my best friend again. We call that Scare Along, where we read scary books for the month of October. That was also, I think, when she told me that her illness was over, that she was basically cured. I don't want to overdo it, but you know, I don't want to say too much about that because it's not my story, but she was much better by then. And so, yeah, it was again a very conflicting time because I was feeling quite down, but obviously for her that was good news, and that's always just a bit difficult, you know, the struggle, I guess. But yeah, as I said, it was a difficult month, and then after that, in November, I went crazy with traveling, but I only traveled for work, which is always good because, you know, it brings you forward, so you learn more stuff and stuff and stuff and stuff. And so one of my colleagues asked me if I would come with her to Zurich. I've never been there, and I knew that she had, so I thought it would be a cool opportunity to get to know the city a little bit. We only went there for 2.5 days, so it was a very short trip, but it was really interesting and very expensive. Like, Zurich is fucking expensive, like I couldn't believe it, but we had a good time, you know. And I also did a little travel vlog about that, but since we spent all the time working, it's not really a big deal. And then when we came back, we actually had the next trip planned, which was to Venice again. I've been to Venice 2 years before for the same reason, and so we went there again. It was amazing. Like, I always thought that Venice is really overrated and, you know, it's not that great and stuff like that, and I would never ever go there in the summertime, but being there in autumn is amazing. I love it so much, and I was actually shocked that it felt like coming home in a way. Like, I walked through the streets of Venice and it did something to me, and I still can't believe it. Like, I loved every second of it, and I think I even might go back one day, I don't know. But that was really eye-opening, you know, the way that this city felt like a place I love, and I hadn't seen that coming for some reason. So I also did a vlog about that, and luckily I had a full day to explore the city after the things I had to do for work, which was amazing. I went to the eastern part of Venice, which is where actual people live. Like, there's not too many tourists. There's always some, but not too many, and it was so interesting, and the weather was gorgeous. It was really bright and sunny out, but there was also a little bit of wind, so it wasn't too warm, and everyone, I tell you, everyone had their laundry out, and it was so great. Like, it smelled of fresh laundry everywhere, and going through these, you know, tiny little streets, it was so cool. Like, I loved it. So please go and check out the Venice vlog, because I'm very proud of it. And then when I came back from that, I actually had to leave again because I had to go to Cologne. I never know how to say it in English. Because, again, for work, 3 days. And that was so cool as well, because it was right at the beginning of the Christmas time, right at the end of November. And they had little Christmas markets, and there is this really well-known, I don't want to say church. There's probably a better word for it in English, but you know, it's huge. It's one of the hugest buildings of the world. And I remember stepping out of the train station and being right next to it, and I was so stunned. And there was this tiny little Christmas tree. Like, it was like a real Christmas tree right next to it, but it looked so tiny, like it was a toy. It was so amazing, and also I learned a lot there, which is great. But yeah, just this city kind of, I liked it, I must say. Like, my boss was like, it's not a nice city at all, and it's probably not the prettiest city in the world, but still, I don't know, I liked it. So that was November. Now, obviously, December was Christmas month, but this year I didn't really feel a lot of Christmas joy, to be honest. I did my Vlogmas recipe thing that I did for a couple of years now on my baking channel. It's always linked down below if you want to check it out. And I was really busy with that. Like, I had started recording videos quite early, but you know, editing videos every day and having lots of stuff to do, it's very stressful. So I barely had time to watch any like Christmas movies or anything like that, or read any Christmas books. I listened to a ton of Christmas music, like Elvis Presley at Christmas time's my fave. But yeah, it was just so stressful. Then also on the second weekend in December, I went back to my family to celebrate a little bit with them. I also did a vlog for that, and that was nice. I mean, obviously I like spending time with my family, but it's also always a little bit stressful, you know, with everyone having expectations and stuff like that. but I managed fine. So that still left me quite stressed out because, you know, I was missing a whole weekend, so I had to edit all the videos for the recipes beforehand and stuff like that, and with work and everything. It just wasn't easy, is what I'm saying. So I didn't really have time for any Christmassy feelings, and then we had our little Christmas party at work just a couple of days ago, basically. And I got really sick after that. Like for 2 days, I was basically not able to walk. I was so sick. And that was not fun. And so I had to stop my Vlogmas thingy early because I could not edit videos at all. Like I was on the couch 24/7 for 2 days. And then I went to the doctor and he told me there was basically nothing I could do. I just had to survive, and so I did, and I was well right for Christmas, so it was perfect timing. So I could go back home, you know, celebrate with my friends, celebrate with my family, which I did, and I loved it, and it was all nice and chill this year, which was amazing because sometimes Christmas can be so overwhelming. So on the 25th, I actually decided to go back home, because I didn't want to leave the cat alone for too long, and also I wanted to enjoy my vacation. So in the last couple of days I have been reading and cuddling the cat, and I had the best time of my life, to be honest. And yeah, New Year's Eve was very unspectacular because I basically stayed home with the cat and I took a bath and I just enjoyed the hell out of my evening. And that was my year 2018, which was definitely the most crazy I could ever imagine. I really had, you know, ups and downs. I had a lot of stress, and I still don't know how I did all of the things that I did, but somehow it worked out. And I can say that I'm in a much better place now than I was a year ago, which is always great. And I've learned a lot. I've just really learned a lot about life, about my work, about, you know, friendship and family, and yeah, about love as well. So I hope you had a good year of 2018 as well. If something really cool happened to you, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear about that. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed this. As I said, this is mainly to kind of remind myself of what happened. But yeah, maybe it's also interesting to you to hear what can happen in a year. So have a great day. I will talk to you soon. Bye.